Good morning, mis amores. Bienvenidos. Welcome to Books and Tea. My name is Kat, and happy December! Oh my God, I'm so excited. We are in the fa la 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 mood. We're ready for Christmas. As you can see, I turned the colors of my lights to make it a little bit more festive. Now that we're done with November, what better way to move forward than to do a November reading wrap up? Yes, we're going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of November. I did read 5 books this month. It's not the regular amount that I normally read, but that's okay. Even if you read 1 book, we accept that here. A lot of things happened. There were a lot of roller coaster of emotions in my reading journey this month, but overall, I had a really, really good reading experience, and I can't wait to share with you all my thoughts, what I rated them, and what I recommend. As you can see, I have my holiday kavlik. It's a little ornament. I can finally whip out my Christmas mugs. Although I do want to change these up a bit because I've had these for years. I think it's time to get new ones. But anyway, let's go through all the books that I read in November. Let's get started. All right, so the first book that we have is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a pretty iconic book. A lot of people know about this read. I'm the only one that wanted to join last and find out about this. I did get this free at the library, so huge thank you for getting this for me. I didn't really know much about it. I went in going blind, and basically it's these 2 characters whose names are, I don't even really remember their names, Celia and Marco. And they were very young, and it's just a up and coming training for them to be the next magicians in this circus that only appears at night. And it brings you along throughout the years of their training, of the influences around them, the magic system that they have to learn, all that good stuff. I am sad to say that I did do a soft DNF for this book. I did not finish. This book, I think, was maybe a right book, wrong time. Because here's the thing. I think I got maybe to let me see. Yeah, I got maybe 150 to 200 pages. I was enjoying myself, but then all of a sudden I got hit with this bad flu. I am not the type of person to call out during work ever. Like, I have to be on my deathbed to call out of work, okay? But this one just got me good, and I had to stay home and recover. One of the things that I found out about the book is the language. I've never read any books by this author before. This is my first. And I noticed that the language is very complex. It's very poetic, if you will. And I had to put it down because me being sick, I did try to continue to read it. I did. But the problem is that when you're sick and you're drowsy and you're tired, and with the language that this book has, I was not able to keep up. I'm gonna be so honest. It took having to go back over and over again, reread the pages so that I can understand the timeline and the plot, and to stay actively interested in this book. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a really good book, but because of the fact that I'm sick and I'm recovering, it's just not the right time. And then once I broke away from the fevers and the cold and everything, I just didn't have a lot of interest to pick it back up immediately. So I was like, you know what? Vamos a dejarlo ahí. We're gonna give it some time, and hopefully I can pick it up again and see what the hype is about, see if it progresses and gets more interesting throughout. But for now, I did do a soft DNF on this one. Hopefully we'll pick it up again. All right, guys, so before I get into the next book, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I didn't realize it until I replayed my videos that I have a lot of background noise, and I'm so sorry about that. I didn't realize how much cars and trucks pass by my apartment building on a regular basis, so I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to try my best to see if I can crop it out, do something, but if not, then just think of it as background noise. Anyway, I read Meat by Ali Hazelwood, and this book was so good, you guys. 5 stars. 5 stars. This book was so good. I don't know what the name of this overall series is, but Bride is the first book by Ali Hazelwood. If you have not picked it up yet, please, this is your sign de Papa Dios to go pick it up, okay? Because this book put me through so much, but like in the best way. You know what I mean? This follows Serena and Cohen. If you guys want to see my full in-depth thoughts and my reactions to this book, I did post a vlog. If you guys want to check that out, please do so. It's going to include this one and 2 other books that I read as well. You could see how giddy I am and giggling and how much of a good time I have. This is Wolves. You would absolutely love it if you love Twilight, any of that supernatural stuff. I really enjoy her stepping out of her comfort zone and doing something new. Serena is half human, half wolf. And then she meets with Cohen, who is the alpha of a wolf pack in the northwest. I always get those confused. Northwest, yes. And, oh, excuse me. What was that? And they start out by immediately being told that they're mates. Right off the bat. There are no feelings involved. There isn't even nothing. They haven't even started a friendship yet. And they're already like, listen, you guys are mates. It really just talks about the journey of them getting to know each other, having to live this new life, and having to have everybody adapt to her new title. Even though she's more in tune with her human side, she doesn't really know much about her half-were side. And don't get it twisted, this book is super cute. The cover is so pretty, but there's traumatic things that goes on. There's a lot of political things that go on as well. And so it will really take you for a ride. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing, I was screaming, I was crying, I was upset, I was overwhelmed, and it was done very well. The pacing was really nice. The banter, you guys, the banter was what got me. The banter was absolutely amazing. And I get so upset because I wish that my comebacks were this fast and this great the way that Serena, and both of them too. Cohen, his banter is really good as well. And I wish that I could be able to have that ability. But overall, so amazing. I'm really happy that she came out with this second installment. I'm not sure if there's gonna be more. I don't know if this ends in a duology or if more are going to come out. If it does, I will be more than happy to read it. I'm not really a person that likes to read series unless it's complete, but I couldn't help it. I was waiting all year for this to come out, and the spooky, you know, the fall vibes, this was the perfect time to read it. So please, if you need a sign, I'm telling you right now, pick this book up. Te lo digo. So good. For the third book, I ended up reading Violet Thistlethwaite Is Not a Villain Anymore by Emily Krenfoltz. This was my book of the month pick for November. This also was a book that I found out was from a debut author that hadn't even been released yet. So it felt really nice to be able to read a book and give my rating and reaction and be able to tell you whether you should pick it up when it comes out or not. And you know what? I had a really good time with this book. I gave it a 3.75. That to me is a good rating. Anything 2 or less is like, no. Now, I will say, I'm not sure if it might have been higher had I not read it immediately after May. Like, if I would have read this story's banter before May, I probably would have raised it higher. Probably. But because I didn't, it is what it is. Because the banter in here was cute. It wasn't as much, but it was there, and I had a fun time. This is about Violet Thistlethwaite. She was evil in her past life. Something happened. She was following this evil lord, and due to events, the lord was unalived. And then the person that ended up destroying the evil lord looked at Violet and was like, listen, you want to do better. You don't have a lord to follow anymore. Why don't you try something new and be good? Change up your life. And that's what she did. She ended up going into this little town called Dragon's Rest, where she decides, you know what? The best way for me to start something new is to open up a flower shop. She goes to this apartment that has this greenhouse that she will convert into her flower shop. And of course, she starts falling for the landlord, Nathaniel. Now, Nathaniel is a huge grump. He is not with none of that. He starts to feel sus about her from the very beginning. Now, he owns an apothecary that belonged to his parents, but he used to be an alchemist. So that's not really his scene, but they now have to share this space in half. He can do his business and she can do hers. And what I really loved about this story was they get to know each other, but they're so witty and petty. Like, they put up signs for their shops and use the signs to banter, which I thought was really cute and cool because it was just short words, but it really packed a punch. And then something happens in this book that's not so great, that makes them have to work together. I was so anxious to find out how she was going to be good. How was she not going to let the evil and the bad overtake the good that she was trying to become? That was the part that I was really interested in, and it kept me going. This one, I'm not sure if this book is YA or not. I have no idea if it's an adult. I didn't look into it, but I will say it had topics that made me think to myself, like, what's really going on here? Or, do our perceptions of being bad or evil, is it just based on others' opinions, and then that opinion being reflected onto ourselves? I highly recommend that you pick this up. This was a very cute, cozy read, perfect for the fall, or even if you want to go into like early spring. I would say, because of Flower Shop, it really ties in with that. Those 2 seasons are perfect for this book, and I highly recommend. Hold up, let me drink a little bit. That's good. Now, for this next book, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to read a thriller because I feel that thrillers are the best palate cleanser books to read when getting through a fantasy romance. And I read The Silent Patient. Guys, this book took me to a whole other place. Like, I was not expecting it to be this good. And let me not say that, because what I mean to say is, when you read enough thriller books, you're like, okay, I'm already at a medium pro level. Nothing's really gonna shock me. No, this book shocked me. The ending shocked me so bad. This book has to do with Elise. She has a husband who she loves so much. Can't live without him. Everything is beautiful. And then he's dead. She kills him. I think he gets shot like 5 times in the face. Crazy. And then since that day, 6 years have gone by and she has not spoken a word. Not a peep, not a toot, nothing. And because of that, instead of going to prison, the judge sentenced her to go to this psychiatric hospital. Incoming Theo. He is a psychotherapist who goes to work at said hospital, and he's like, you know what? I want to get the story and I want to find out what happened, why she isn't talking. I'm gonna do whatever it is that I need to do to get her to talk. And also, he wants to try to save her because his situation, not to say that he goes through the same thing, but he also goes through something that's pretty traumatic, and he wants to use that information to be a little bit more sympathetic to Alice. His book was crazy. I almost threw Hedwig. I'm not gonna lie. I did consider throwing him across the room when I found out what happened, because what do you mean? I don't want to say, it's so hard not to spoil books, but please let me know if anybody else has read The Silent Patient and what you thought about it, because I'm dying to just scream at the top of my lungs and give out this spoiler, but I'm not going to do that. This was a really, really interesting story. The way that their lives are sort of interwoven, the way that his trauma, how he deals with his, how she deals with her, and all the side characters, how they feel about the situation and about Alice and how they treat her. It's just all really, really crazy. I highly recommend reading those just because I think that it's a good way for you to take a break from the genre that you're used to reading and then having like a what the F moment and then going back into your genres. But I had such a good time. Please go read it. Please go read it and then come back and then comment what you thought about the ending. Let me know if I was bugging or if my reactions was valid, because I'm telling you right now, I do understand that I can be a little bit extra with my reactions. I got that. I do. But if y'all give me validation that the way that I reacted was sufficient, no words. No words. Please go read it right now. Right now. All right, guys. And then the last book that I read in the month of November was Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is... How rude. I swear. Now that I saw the video, now I'm noticing all these cars passing by and it's driving me crazy. Anyway, this is the first book that I've ever read by V.E. Schwab. She wrote The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, if you know about that book. I haven't had a chance to read it, but I want to. And this book, I went into it completely blind, right? Because the summary in the back was very short. And this just says, 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One grows high, one grows deep, and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. If you want to just give that little bit of information, then maybe the best thing to do is go into it blind. And that's what I did, and thank God I did that, because it really immersifies you into the story when you don't really know what's going on from the jump. And what this is 3 women in separate timelines, right? One of them starts out in the year 1532. The second one starts out in 1827, and then the third one in 2019. They go about their story. They're all women and they all struggle in different times and how they surpass that, how they get over it. This was a book that I wanted to read in the fall specifically for the spooky vibes. I did feel, maybe up until the halfway point, there were some moments where I felt like, okay, what's going on? Can we speed it up a little bit? But then there were other parts where I was giddy with anticipation, trying to find out how 3 different timelines became coercive into one. And it was a fun read. I'd probably rate this book 4 stars, which is still a really good rating. I still recommend. I recommend that you read this book in October, because it being dark and spooky outside sets the tone and it makes it a lot more understandable and imaginative. But it wasn't exactly 5 stars, just because I did find certain points in the book to be a tiny bit dragging. I will say though, the best thing about it is, as you can see, this book, she's thick. I think she was let me see how many. 533 pages was this book. And the one thing that I absolutely adore about big books is when they have short chapters. And that's exactly what this book was. The chapters were extremely short, so it was so easy for you to fly by. Everyone that decides to pick up this book to go into it blind like I did, I don't want to say anything about it. I don't want to give any chance to ruin what the story is about, so I'm just going to leave it with the fact that it was a 4 star. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend reading this, and yeah, I had a good time. So 4 stars. Okay, mi gente, before we end this video, I do just want to give 2 honorary mentions to 2 books that I started this month and unfortunately did not get a chance to finish. Not because I DNF'd it or anything, just the time expired in November. The first one is Alchemized by Sen-Ling Yu. Oh my lordy, she's a brick. She's a big brick. And I got to chapter 31, page 380. So I did get a chunk of the way through, but not immediately. I started reading this book. A patient was super, super sweet to let me borrow this book to read. I started it out there, but then I had to switch over to the audiobook because there was just a lot of things that I was doing, and I knew that the time would go by faster if I did it that way. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to finish. Guys, this book put me through it. I was having such a difficult time getting through this book, and I don't know if it was because it was very intimidating. I don't know if because this book is 1,000 pages, or the timing, you know, the holidays coming in November and just doing a lot of things. I don't know why. I just could not finish this book in time to make it to the November wrap up. I will finish this book by the end of the year. Mark my words, you're hearing it now. I'm gonna finish this book. I still have a lot left, but I will try my best. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about this book in my December reading wrap up. But I just wanna mention it because I did technically start it in November, and I don't wanna give too much information about it because I don't know yet if I'm gonna vlog it or if I'm going to just talk about it in detail at the end of next month. But I do want to mention that I started Alchemized. Okay, and then the last book that I want to talk about is Gone Before Goodbye by Reese Witherspoon and Harlan Coben. I was very surprised that Reese Witherspoon wrote a book, but I heard that it was really good. So for those that don't know, I also have a Books and Tea book club in my local area, and this was the book that we picked this month to read. Unfortunately, I tried listening to it on YouTube as an audio, and it started out great. I was like 3 chapters in, and then all of a sudden it got deleted. ¿Por qué? No sé. But I was like, okay, then I got no choice because it's not on Kindle Unlimited either. So I have to buy it paperback and continue reading it. I just didn't have the money at the time to purchase that book. So I have to wait a little bit. But I did start it in November with my book club. We're gonna have to extend it out into December. But I did want to mention that I started it this month. I don't really know much about it. Like I said, I'm only 3 chapters in, so I don't want to give any crazy synopsis or detail about it. But I figured put it in the honorary mentions for this month since I did start it. We're done. These are all the books that I read in November. Please let me know in the comment section below what books you read for November. Did you enjoy them? Did you not? Would you recommend them? Thank you so much for sticking with me through this video. I hope you have an amazing day. Hasta la próxima. Bye. Okay, and then finally, the last book that I started was Gone Before Goodbye by Reese Witherspoon and Hanlon. What's the other guy's name? What's the other guy's name? What is his name? That's so embarrassing. What's the guy's name? Okay, the next book I read was Violet Thistlethwaite. Violet Thistlethwaite. I'm about to crash out. I read Violet Thistlethwaite. Oh my God. Violet, what? Thistlethwaite. Violet Thistlethwaite. Thistlethwaite. That's so hard to say. Violet Thistlethwaite is not a villain anymore. Violet Thistlethwaite. Okay. Forget it.